Good morning. Welcome to the first day of the rest of your life, because every day is your birthday if you choose to celebrate life. Hopefully my signal's going to work out all right. Clearly the tide is not going to come in this time like it was last time I was down on this beach here, and as you can probably see, the camera's a little bit wobbly, sorry about that. When I was on my run yesterday, I pointed out the statue that's just there from the top of the hill, which is way out there. So now I'm down by the sea, as you can see, having done a 5-mile run yesterday, unexpectedly, because after I did my video with you yesterday saying suffering is a choice, I then went up to that pylon at the top of the hill there, and then tried to find a cut down from that pylon back down into Ilfracombe. Turns out there isn't one. You have to kind of go around a big circle through a place called Slade anyway, and I ended up on a 4.79 mile run, which is very unexpected, which also included, of course, a 750 feet climb as part of that process as well. So I suffered yesterday as a result of not really, well, I kind of had a plan. I looked on Google Maps. It's very hard to tell on Google Maps whether or not, also interesting thing about Google Maps, it doesn't show elevation at all, so you can't tell whether or not, you know, if you're walking from here to here on Google Maps, you can't tell whether or not there's a massive great hill in between or even a massive steep slope from here to here. There's no indication on Google Maps at all, whereas of course if you get an Ordnance Survey map, they have can't remember what they're called. There's lines on there that the closer they are together, the steeper the slope. And we're back. Oh my lord. It's been like 2 or 3 minutes of disconnected. You remember that helicopter that just came over earlier on? It was just gone over there. And you remember when I was talking about fear a couple of days ago, I was talking about how walking along the cliffs tops, I was worried about falling off and then having to ask for help. And I imagine that's the sort of helicopter that would have had to come to rescue me if I'd fallen down the cliffs and broken my leg or something like that. How embarrassing would that be? But anyway, yes. What was I talking about? 700 meter climb yesterday, and then a 5-mile run. Anyway, that's what I basically said, something along those lines anyway. And then I've lost the signal down here, so I'm now feeling like I've lost my train of thought completely. Suffering, yes. So that was a self-induced suffering. So yesterday I was talking about how you can say to yourself, oh, that thing happened to me, it wasn't my fault that thing happened, but if you consider the fact that let's try and see if I can somewhere I can hang the phone again. If you consider the fact that your decisions and your choices that you made up till that point all contributed to you finding yourself in that position, and so therefore it can become not so much your fault, but the consequences of all the decisions that you made have led to that thing happening or that situation occurring. Let me just see if I can hook this on here. Nope. Okay, handheld it is then, while I'm walking along the beach. As you can see, there is a little beach in the harbour at Ilfracombe. Although obviously when the water's out, it's a little bit rubbish. So yeah, basically all the choices that I made to go up to that hill, check that out, and then not necessarily know about my route back down again, led to my suffering yesterday, because it was blooming hard work that last 1.5 miles, running sort of basically down a road all the way into Ilfracombe. And of course the problem is I live on a bit of Ilfracombe which you can't really get to without going uphill. And every time I was going downhill. Okay. I'm now almost in the where the water was before. I'm hoping my signal will stay now, because that was a bit rubbish really. Maybe I can use one of these boats to prop up my phone. Nobody will really care. I'm only popping a phone on a boat, aren't I? Led to my own suffering, yes. So I had quite a bit of suffering going on that, going back up on that, back up home, going up that last little hill. It's just like my nightmare. And then today, obviously, I've come down here. It's a fairly short walk, and I've just got to walk back up the hill to where I live, up there somewhere. And that's going to be a bit tough as well. My legs, I can still feel the pain in my legs from yesterday's run. So anyway, there you go, my own suffering. But what I wanted to talk about today was the part 2 of that, which I didn't get a chance to finish off yesterday. So all that rambling at the beginning is kind of frustrating. Also, I haven't said happy birthdays. Happy birthday, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. Happy birthday to the people whose real birthdays is Jez, Anna, Ken, Katie, Peter, Paul, Giles and JoAnne. Happy birthday to all of you. I think if I do that really quickly at the beginning, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Hello viewer, by the way, I can't see who you are, but hello to you. I'm hoping my signal will last now. I've just noticed this. There's a dead, this boat has a dead crab on it. Interesting. So anyway, I'm just going to put that up there and see how well that works. It works, yay, that's cool. I do feel a bit bad borrowing somebody's boat to rest my phone on, but there you go. Who's going to stop me, really? Yeah, so I wanted to talk about habits, and good habits versus bad habits, habits versus desires, in fact, generally speaking. So it was like, this is one of the books I was listening to yesterday. It's going to be interesting to see how that seagull noise sounds like in the background as well. Because I've been worried about recording videos with that going on in the background, so this will be interesting to hear what that sounds like at this point. No idea how long I've been recording for, because I've been on finding signal for absolutely ages on this one. But so it was talking about, this book was talking about desire. Something that you do, that you desire to do, that you're enjoying doing, is obviously okay and good for you, but you just need to be careful about whether or not that desire then becomes compulsive, which is then what happens when, because he was talking about, desiring a chai tea, for example, bit of an extreme one, but desiring maybe a cup of coffee or cappuccino, for example, going out for a cappuccino, versus the desire to want to have a cigarette, and the compulsion to have a cigarette, so that addiction to the cigarette, versus not necessarily the addiction to having a cup of chai tea anyway. Maybe that's why they went for it, because it's not really an addictive thing, whereas coffee could be could be considered an addictive thing if you're drinking too much of it. And the question then becomes, is it detrimental to your life, or is it helpful to your life? And it's only you can really decide whether or not something is detrimental, whether it is not helpful to you moving forward, and whether or not it's doing a good thing for you in your life moving forward. So you have to make that decision. You have to recognise it, or you can look at your friends and your family and ask them, is this causing me problems? Is this detrimental to my life? Is this a helpful or an unhelpful habit? Which is what I made in the comments and the description. So is this habit helping me to move forward, or is this helpful? Is this habit holding me back? Like, I've got this addiction to TV. Even though I haven't got a TV where I'm living right now, I'm still finding myself watching Netflix and BBC iPlayer and Sky Go way more than I probably should do, and then even YouTube. Even if I manage to get myself off that and then onto YouTube, it's like, oh, this is a YouTube video, and I just have this compulsion to watch it, and it's not helpful to me moving forward. So I need to work on that particular addiction myself, or that unhelpful habit, you could say. Which is why I prefer to call habits helpful versus unhelpful instead of good versus bad. So is this a good habit or is it a bad habit? Well, it depends. Some people would consider it a bad habit, some people would consider it a good habit. It depends. If you went to the gym too often, for example, some people would say that's a bad habit. Oh, you go to the gym way too often. Particularly this classic thing for women and men who go to the gym very often, or men who go fishing very often. But it's allowing them to get out of their emotion, get in touch with themselves. It's like a meditation thing for the guys who do the fishing thing. I don't know whether or not that works as far as calming them down or not, because I've got no idea. Women who talk too much, a lot of men would say women talk too much, but they're getting their emotions out, they're feeling in touch with how they feel, and then that's helpful for them, and should be more helpful for men. So these are all things like, is it helpful or is it unhelpful? These are good things to think about in all your habits. And then if you want to overcome your habit, then come to me, because that's one of the things that I teach in part of my program. But essentially what you do is you look at the stimulus, the action, and then the reward. I can't remember which with the exact terms from it. Basically, something makes you think about the habit, doing the habit, And then you do the habit, and then you feel good after doing the habit, or something happens as a result of having done the habit and it makes you feel good. And you can change any one of those three things to try and break that habit, try and replace it with something else. For example, you can do habit stacking, so you can find, so if it's something you want to draw into your life, you can say, well, whenever I do this, I'm going to add this, and whenever I do something, that a habit that you already exist, like washing your teeth, going to the toilet, that kind of thing, then you can say, every time I go wash my teeth, or every time I go to the toilet, I'm going to do this thing after that, and then it becomes habit stacking. And then it's a case of just repeating that habit over time to embed that habit and make it part of your automaticity, part of your brain. So it becomes like tying a shoelace, or solving a Rubik's Cube like I would do, or driving a car. It becomes automatic, so it becomes muscle memory. You don't really think about it anymore, it just happens automatically, which is why when you find unhelpful habits getting in the way, because like my TV watching habit, it's in the way of doing things that I really want to do, in the way of things that I really want to enjoy. So that's what I want to talk about. And then of course these things then lead to that suffering that we were talking about at the beginning, because these habits have a tendency to cause us to have problems, and because we do things in a certain way, we do things in a particular type of direction, and then that leads to potentially to the suffering, the negative thinking that helps when people are struggling with depression, takes them down into a spiral, makes them ruminate about the past, makes them anxious about the future, and that can cause some serious mental health problems. Of course, so it's an unhelpful habit, doing all that rumination, that thinking, and we can break that habit in the same way. It's all the same parts of the same thing. It's all rewiring that brain for positivity instead of negativity, and that's what I do in my program. So if you're interested in the programs, let me know. That is me done for the day. I'm going to send you all out with the love in the world. Don't forget the breathing exercise that I teach you. Breathe in 5 through the nose, hand on your heart, light the candles on the left hand, and then blow out the candles on the left hand. And wish yourself a happy birthday. What's the one thing that's made you smile in the last 24 hours? What's the one thing that's made you smile in the last 24 hours? What's one thing you've done in the last 24 hours? One thing you're going to do in the next 24 hours? And what are you grateful for from the last 24 hours? Or the next hour if you want to do it every hour or something like that. So that is my done for today. Have a lovely Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow with another fantastic, enlightening, interesting thing to talk about. Say goodbye from Ilfracombe Harbour. Bye.